Hey there, welcome back to lease option training. This is step number 2, and this is where the deal will either happen for you or it won't. I'll just be honest with you. This step, we talked about in the previous step how to find lease option properties or properties that you can lease option. And in this step, we're talking about the first conversation with the seller. Okay, so this is where you, in the previous module, you were text blasting or you were reaching out through some method of marketing that you developed to 1,000 or 1,500 different numbers in a month, and you're going to get responses. Those responses, the yeses and the maybes, what do you do with those? Okay, that's what we're talking about in this module. All right, so let me say it again. I want to stress it one more time that your job is to get the message of would you consider a lease option in as front of as many for sale by owners and for rents as possible. All right, and the auto marketer is one method of doing that. You can do it other ways. You should be doing other marketing techniques as well. Excuse me. Drinking out of a mason jar. Funny, huh? This particular step, though, is about how to have that first conversation. What do you do with the yeses? So let's take a look at a yes. Let's take a look at a yes. Now, here's the auto marketer, which looks familiar because we were here in the previous step. You can see I've got some SMS campaign responses. Okay, I did a text blast and I've got some responses. The responses are there's a bunch of them here. I'm looking at a section between 47 and 52, so there's at least that many. And you can see one guy texted me back and said, "What property are you referring to?" And I don't know if you can hear it or not, but he also called and left a message. Told me his name. He said, "You've been sending me text messages asking me if I could lease option. Sometimes 12 to 24 or 24 to 36 months." He said, "I'm open to that." He said, "But I don't know what property you're talking about. So call me back and clarify what property you're talking about. I have 8 properties, and I would consider that." And then he gave me his phone number. I already had it, buddy. That's how I texted you. So you can see that is definitely someone you would want to respond to. Now, how do you respond to that guy? Okay, here's another one that says on what property. Here's another one that says no. Here's another one that says no, sorry, I don't want to rent. Yeah, well, we're not going to bother with any of the no's. I mean, that's not necessary. This one here is a yes. Okay. Now, what do we do with the yeses and the maybes? All right. Well, folks, it's pretty simple. But I do highly recommend that you, as soon as possible, as soon as you can manage it with your finances and your business is ready for it, there's a virtual assistant agency that I've put a banner down below this video on the training module here, and that virtual assistant agency, I'm not affiliated with them in any way. I don't get compensated or any shit like that. I've used them, okay, and they're pretty darn good. And it was $5 an hour, so can't beat that. I met some good folks from the Philippines there. They are hard workers, okay. So it was worth the money, and the experience I've had with them up to this point has been great, and I've been using them for a very long time. The lady that runs the place, her name is Cherry, and they manage their virtual assistants, so you won't have to be managing your virtual assistant. You'll set them up with the tasks that you have and how you want it done, and they will do it. And then they will manage the virtual assistants. They'll work as a team if necessary, and they'll also check in with you at least once a month and let you know that they are managing your virtual assistants, and is there anything that we could do to be better, which is really nice. Now, I recommend that you use a virtual assistant agency to do tasks like this one, okay? Also, the one in the previous one could be something that in the previous step, you could outsource that. You could also do that in all over the country, all over the United States. So, you definitely want to consider all of the possibilities here, okay? Because don't pigeonhole yourself into some small neighborhood, because you can do this virtually, and I'm going to show you in this course step by step how you can do this all over the country without ever going there or without ever seeing the place, like with your own two eyes in person. So what do we do with these yeses now that we have them? Well, that's a great question. What you're going to do now is you're going to call that number. All right. What I would recommend is definitely not overlooking any of the yeses and the maybes. Okay, call them both. All right. Let me see here if I can pull up I want to pull up a different view. You can see I've run some tests and I've done some things on this particular account. What do we do with the yeses? Let's get on with that. This down below the video is the lead property information sheet, and I would have a virtual assistant that speaks good English call all of the yeses and all of the maybes and follow this script. That's simple. Okay. Now, a script is a formula, and formula, I always say formula is for babies. It is. And you can see this has down in the middle of the lead property information sheet, there is a script, okay? And it leads you through the conversation. All right. You'll want to start this conversation out. You've already texted this individual. They have already texted you back and said yes. You've already closed them once. Okay. You are well on your way to a lease option deal. So what you're going to do is you're going to call them back, and you're going to very nicely and confidently tell them who you are. My name is Justin, and my company is blah blah, and the reason I'm calling is because I had texted you about, would you consider lease optioning your property or leasing your property for 12 to 36 months and then selling that property at today's full asking price? And you responded yes. And then just be quiet and let them talk for a little bit. And they're going to tell you why, hopefully, they said yes. All right. If they don't tell you why they said yes, or even if they do tell you why they said yes, I want you to immediately go into writing down the information on this sheet. Be as conversational as you can be, but get all of the information as you can, as much as you can. If the asking price and the loan balance are within $35,000, okay, will you sell the house for what you owe on it? Yes or no? if the house has a mortgage, if we can agree on the price and we accept all responsibility for future repairs, would you consider a lease option? If they say yes, you confirm that through this conversation. Okay, I'll have my boss call you to discuss what is the best time. What you're doing here is you're setting them up, okay, for a closing call. Okay, eventually you'll probably get good enough to just go right into the close right here if you're doing it yourself. But see, this is set up for a virtual assistant to be able to do. So your virtual assistant is going to set an appointment for you to call back and speak to the homeowner, the seller. Except when you do, now you're going to not only know this person said yes on the text blast, they again confirmed verbally yes with the virtual assistant, and the virtual assistant gave you all the information you need in order to put together your offer and this lease option deal. All right. So let me talk about another few lines on this lead property information sheet. A lot of it is self-explanatory. The ones with the stars by it, asking price. What are they asking for this property? What is their selling price? If you're talking to a landlord, he might not know, but you'll have to get him to come up with an answer. Okay, what would you sell it for today if you were going to sell it? Okay, and why do you think that? Seller's estimated value. Okay, this is what the seller thinks their house is worth. Okay, the asking price is what they're asking for it, and the seller's estimated value. This may be the same number, or they may be asking a little less than they think it's worth. I've even seen some weird cases where they were asking more than what they thought it was worth, and I'm like, well, what kind of world do you live in, folks? Your comps. Okay, comps means comparable sales. Okay, it doesn't mean comparable houses for sale. It doesn't mean it doesn't mean comparable houses for sale. Okay, it means comparable sales. Comparable solds would be maybe a more appropriate way of saying it. Houses that are like this one, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, 2-car garage, about the same size square feet, and they've already sold in this neighborhood for this for this dollar amount. You take an average of those and you've got a good idea what this property is worth. Folks, you can do that. You can get that information on Zillow. Okay, some of you were just thinking, yeah, but I don't have a realtor. I don't have a realtor's license, and I don't have a realtor that's going to pull comparable sales for me. Well, you don't need one. I mean, we live in 2018 or later. That's when this is being filmed, the last of 2018. So it's like, you can get information. All right. You can also get a relationship with a realtor, build one, make it a goal, call a few, ask them to give you access to their realtor property report, because all realtors, at least in this state, can let 3 people have access to their ability to pull the realtor property report. All right, which will give you all this information that you're wanting for the most part. That is a great idea, and I highly recommend doing that. All right, but your comps, this is the comparable solds. Okay, so you're going to have to do a little bit of research, or your VA is going to have to do a little bit of research. You might show them how to do this. Okay, and you're going to want to check until you're confident that they got it right. All right, existing mortgage information. A lot of people are scared to ask this question, but it shouldn't be. And the reason why is because this guy's already said yes. Or at least he said maybe. And he's on the phone with you, or he's on the phone with your virtual assistant. And by virtue of being on the phone with your virtual assistant, he's confirming that he has a need, and he's thinking you may have a solution for his need. Okay? So here's how you ask about the existing mortgage information. While you're talking with the seller and he's talking, you say, hey, Mr. Homeowner, I understand why you want to sell. I've asked you why you want to sell and what's going on with the situation. What do you owe on that place? And then just shut up. The guy will, most of the time, they will answer. And they will tell you. Okay, why is this important? Because if he's motivated, he's going to let you have this place for what he owes on it. Alright? He's going to let you have that option for what he owes on it. If he's not that motivated, he won't. Alright? If he's not motivated at all, or not enough, he won't tell you this information. In which case, just get off the phone. Okay? You will be miserable. Your virtual assistant will be miserable if you think that you are going to get on the phone and convert all of these into lease option deals. It just will not happen. Okay? You are going to have conversations with folks, and you're going to find out that they said yes to the text message, but they're not as motivated as you thought. Alright? You're also going to have conversations with those types of people that are definitely motivated and will share and care everything with you if you are offering a solution to their payment problem. The payment's eating them up. They're ready to listen to a solution, creative or otherwise. Anybody, anything, please help. Okay? Those are the ones you want to talk to. The others, don't worry about them. We have our favorite word here in the office. It's next. Okay? That wasn't one of the 3 we're going to get this month out of this 1,500 texts. Alright? It's not one of the 3. So, we're going to call the next one and find out, when is the... Let's look at this next star. When do you want to move? Why is this important? You definitely want to find this out. When do you want to move? Why do you need to know that? Because you're not going to be able to do a successful lease option deal with any seller this month if he's not ready to move for 6 more months. Okay? So you definitely want to know when he wants to move. Okay? Because you are going to be finding a tenant buyer to put down a large option fee and move in. They can't move in with his ass still in there, right? Okay? So this information with the stars are very important. Okay? Very important. And this is how you analyze the deal. Alright? Now this is how you know what he wants for the place, what he owes for the place. This is how you find out when he's going to move. Alright? You're going to find out what the payments are. All that good stuff. Because that's what you need. And again, if you cannot get this information, then he's probably not motivated. In which case, if he is not that motivated, then here's what you do. Mr. Homeowner, I understand where you're coming from. And a lot of people have felt the same way. But let me tell you what they've discovered. They've discovered that sometimes this makes a little more sense a little further up the road. So if you wouldn't mind, and I've enjoyed chatting with you here, can I get your email address and send you my special report that explains this a little bit and it also has my contact information on it, just in case up the road something changes. And let me tell you why you want to do this. And this is our special report right here. This is ours, and there's an editable version underneath the video. Okay, so go check it out. Special report, how to get your home under contract within 5 days, and this begins to explain the lease option process and what it is and how it works. Okay, this might be something that you want to have out, or your VA has out, when making these calls, because you can refer to pieces of this, be familiar with this, so that you can answer questions, okay, and explain things to the seller. So this is a great tool for the phone as well. But as soon as you can get an email address for a maybe, or for somebody who, you know, maybe doesn't sound as motivated, then what you'll do is you'll send them a nice email with your contact information, and you'll have edited this report, okay, and you'll put your picture on the front and your logo and your, you know, change it up, make it yours. All right, that's why it's editable, so you can change it down there. And once you do that, send it to the guy, send it to the homeowner, and, you know, from there, what you're going to find is the phone will ring 6 months later, and guess who it is? Okay, it's that same rascal that you talked to that wasn't ready. He had said yes on a text, but he wasn't ready to go. And folks, you're going to build momentum with your business. You're going to move your business and your family and everything with your goals forward, because you've got momentum. You're reaching out to a set number of people every month. You're having this set conversation with the same people. You're getting to the heart of the matter. You're talking about, you're going through the lead qualification form, and you're getting the stars taken care of, okay, on that form. You're putting your paraphernalia, your special report, in the hands of the sellers, okay, the ones that are not ready to go. And folks, that's business. That's how it works. The phone's going to start ringing. Now, in the next module, what we're going to talk about is how to close that seller. In the first module, we talked about how to reach out and market for sellers. The second module, this one, we've talked about how you have that first conversation and pre-qualify a seller, okay? And now in the third module, we're going to talk about how you do the paperwork, how you call them up, you close them up, and send them the paperwork, and get that part of the deal complete. After that, you're just going to market the property for a tenant buyer, and that's when it starts getting real fun, because you can get some nice big hefty checks. Nice big hefty checks. All right, hey guys, love you. I know you're doing good, and I know you're growing. You're listening to this, and you're starting to pick up some new thoughts and new ideas and new confidences. Okay, remember, I want you to take away from this, when you're talking this first conversation with these sellers, do not get discouraged with the unmotivated ones. Remember, we have a famous word here at the Real Estate Wholesalers Club. When we find an unmotivated seller, the word is next.